Okay, here we are, Matthew Russell Lee, Inner City Press, here at the Southern District of New York Courthouse. Today, Thursday, July 23rd, 2026. Yesterday, this was all closed down for Nicolas Maduro, and we covered it. It didn't take long, actually. It was about 20 minutes long. Basically, it was to approve the trial schedule. Judge Hellerstein has set the Nicolas Maduro trial for June 1, 2027, with a hearing in November about sovereign immunity, things that can be dealt with even before discovery is completed. So we'll cover that. But until then, Nicholas, he looked pretty good. He looked pretty chipper, honestly. He was wearing kind of Skechers. He bounced back. There was a whole thing about Super Bigote. I wrote that. You'll find it. It's on Substack, including some hair analysis, hair stewed. Now, that seems like to some that seems like a long trial schedule. But only yesterday we learned that the death penalty case against Deshaun McBean, aka Jeezy Mula, the rapper, they just set a trial date in 2028. That's a year and a half from now. It is a death penalty case, and there's an extensive exchange of information and mitigating, and the jury selection begins in November 2027, but we'll see if it comes to that. We'll be there. Now, La Luz del Mundo, have you heard of them? These guys, this is the church in Mexico and in Los Angeles, accused of systematic sexual abuse. Their motions, various motions to get grand jury testimony to prove that they didn't fully respect the religious rights of LLDM, denied in full by Judge Preska. We put that one on Patreon. You can check it out, as well as the complaint against the Wall Street gasoline flamer, now in the MDC. Okay, we're turning the corner, and we have quite a bit to say. In fact, I want to talk about banking law. Now, the FDIC, they insure banks, and the OCC, they under-regulate banks. They have said that they're going to change the rules on the Community Reinvestment Act, and you're going to be hearing more about that in the abstract. But what I want to say is that Fair Finance Watch works in that very space. The idea is that they're going to move the definition of small bank, leading to much less regulation, up from 1.6 billion to 10 billion. Well, we've written a story late last night about a variety of banks in and around that space. We're talking about Hicksville, the one that's trying to be sold to a credit union. We're talking about Coastal Bend in Texas, whose lawyers, I think based in Charlotte, have tried to cite a Fed memo slavishly praising Mickey Bowman, the governor, for the Fed basically not looking into anything that's raised. This is echoed, actually, by a letter that was sent to the Fed urging them to approve ever faster mergers. They love it. Tell you what they should do faster. Respond to our FOIA requests, and especially the FOIA lawsuit. They didn't even make their own code of appearance. This is about Inova. This is a big thing they've gotten letters from state AGs on. I don't know what's happening at the Fed. They say that they're not part of the CRA revamp, but there are no great shakes either. Now let's turn to the United Nations, because there's a lot going on. Today there's a debate for the next SGs. We'll turn back to that. But Friday, there's something we really would actually like to cover. And that something is a vote on whether to fire the head of the ICC Khan for sexual abuse and harassment. There have been other prosecutors of the ICC charged with just that, something in the water. But we want to cover that, but we can't get into the building because Melissa Fleming, supporting this type of abuse, and a censor, will not lets in everyone else, but not Inner City Press. It's too much. Also Friday, there'll be a vote on extending Volker Turk. We've written quite a bit about him. He's the slavish head of the UN's Human Rights Unit that doesn't care about human rights in the least. Basically wants to, feather his own nest, appoint his cronies. Well, he'll have a vote on that. First, though, we'll cover the next SG debate, which Maria Fernanda Espinosa was just promoting. Grossi, I don't know if his sock puppet will be there. We'll see. And we'll also today be covering the New York Times subpoena thing at 2 o'clock. Watch for that. Live stream, live feed, live tweets. To be continued.